Okay, so let's get back to the questions. What is your... Oh, it's you, actually. Sorry, mate. I'm nicking your questions. Go ahead.
What's your favourite house, scare zone or show from over like the whole past Halloween Horror Nights?
Can I give you two things?
Of course.
All right, I'll give you two mazes that I've really loved over the years. One is an IP, one's an original. My favorite horror film of all time is Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween. So I would say out of every maze, IP maze we've ever done, that one is probably one of my favorites because going back to more of the selfish conversation, I wanted to live in that movie. I mean, just the way, everything about that film for me, the fact that it was revolutionary in how it was, filmed. In fact, there's no gore in it. Again, it was only built on suspense and the shape, the shadow. I really love that movie, and I think Michael Myers is one of the scariest, visages ever created. So doing that, going into the homes, being able to walk through Haddonfield, the homes.
So do you do it before it opens to the public, or do you do it while it's open? Do you go through the mazes?
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, because we're involved in the whole process. Yeah. We're as it's being built, we're walking through constantly. But yeah, but when we did fire up all the effects and the music of that movie, and the creative team kind of just walked through and just went, oh my gosh.
No, that Halloween one was that's my favourite one as well.
Oh, nice.
It was so scary. I mean, it depends who you go in with as well. I think.
Sure.
I went in with a gentleman called Jeff, and it scared him so much. I literally piggybacked him around the house because he was just petrified. And there's a bit in the hallway, isn't there? Do you remember there was a bit in the hallway where there was like some Michael Myers standing in it?
Oh yes, it was all strobed.
And you can't guess which one's real and which one's god, that was.
Well, just in putting you in the closet Laurie Strode hid herself in as he's trying to break through. We did the swinging light bulb above. I just really dug that maze a lot.
Yeah, it was good.
I think one of my favorite. I've got a lot of favorite original mazes, but I've had to narrow it down to one. The maze, I enjoy the maze, but I really loved the storyline. We had written a story. It was a maze called The Forsaken, and it was the storyline was we kind of changed the Christopher Columbus discovering the world, Nina Pinta Santa Maria. We kind of inspired a little bit by The Fog. We kind of retooled the mythology of Christopher Columbus and said there was a fourth ship that claimed mutiny on Columbus. Columbus sank to the bottom of the ocean, and a tsunami picked up that wreckage and its souls and plopped it into the middle of a fortified fort in the 1800s. So this awesome kind of Spanish-inspired fort with these undead sailors, waterlogged, swollen, decayed, light-up eyes. I like mazes where we can kind of take a little bit of something that's historical and twist it a little bit. We've done that in the past with a couple mazes, being inspired. I like when I'm creating mazes or some mazes in the past. I take honestly a Doctor Who mentality. I would say, would this be a really great monster for a Doctor Who episode?
Right.
I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, so I love mazes that could easily translate into a one-shot Doctor Who episode. Having like a big bad kind of thing, yeah, that's fun.
Cool.
And you've got any tips? I think, I am going this year.
Yeah.
For my first time to Halloween Horror Nights, so what are your best tips for me?
Let's see. I would say...
Change of underwear?
Yeah, change of underwear. Sneakers, because you might be running.
I definitely will be running.
Probably some, throat spray from the screaming. No, I would say, are you a horror fan?
Yeah, but I'm also get scared very easily.
Yeah. Okay, then probably surround yourself with people you love. And
I am one who buries myself. It doesn't matter if it's a stranger, but I will bury myself in it.
And don't show fear, because it's like blood in the water to a shark.
Oh, you're doomed.
Yeah,
you are doomed.
And let me tell you, the characters, all the performers that do the event, they are some of the most amazing people you'd ever meet. The great thing about Halloween Horror Nights is we've been able to foster a really stable unit of people that have done it year over year. Every year we have a reunion audition where we invite a bunch of people who have worked the event before to audition. And again, some of them have done the event 10, 15, some
They
cases.
know what works to scare
Yes,
people.
they are some of the best people and some of the nicest people. You'd never know
Yeah.
that they were just holding a chainsaw or a machete and just trying to get at you offset when they're just these amazing people.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot. The maze lives and breathes by the people that are working the maze. Again, we can do the most amazing environments, we can do the most amazing effects or puppets, but unless we've got that human factor, they're just sets. They don't do anything.
And is I know obviously you're really busy when it's on, but would you ever consider just being a scare actor for like a day?
Oh yeah, we've done it before. Yeah. Usually near the end of the event. Actually, what was it? 2 years ago? I'll be honest, the events really run together.
Oh,
for me.
I bet, yeah.
Any fan will go, well, that was this year.
Yeah.
I go, thanks. I don't remember. But we did a scare zone based on The Purge.
Yep.
In our New York section of the park, and the last night of the event, I actually went in as one of the purgers with a mask. No one knew it was me, but I wore a mask.
With a chainsaw or?
No, I think I had a rifle, I think, and just running around, and then it started catching on that it might be me, and then there were some Twitter posts. Hey, I think this is Mike, and so it was.
Do you have to bail then? Do you have to like go?
No, I stayed out. I would stay out for hours. Like I never took a break. I would just stay out the whole night, so I could be with both casts.
Yeah, I suppose it's an advantage as well because although it's fun, you also can gauge people's reactions properly without someone trying to tell you what you want to hear.
Absolutely. Well, and the other thing too is so on our team we've got amazing staff of show directors: Patrick Braylor, Charles Gray, Blake Broswell, and then assistant show directors and performance captains as well. And the entire event, they are in these mazes every night, keeping track of how scares are working, listening to guest reactions. And the other cool thing about these mazes is, unlike a ride attraction, is we're still malleable. Again, it's people.
Yeah.
So we'll build rooms that may have one or two extra scare opportunities that we may not employ, but if we're finding guests, because we don't exactly know how the maze is going to work until people are walking through it.
Course,
we have a good idea based on past history, but there are some rooms where we'll try something that we may not know if the guest's perception is going to, because again, it's all about focus and leading people's eye towards something so that we can get them someplace else.
But not too obvious that they know that's what you're doing.
Yeah. So some rooms will work as intended. Well, others will go, man, if we just put someone here instead, we might get a better reaction. Or we also like to do what we call a pinball mentality with the guest, where we'll track them in a room and kind of pinball them into knowing if they're going to get scared here, that is potentially going to lead them towards this wall. So we need something here. That one turn may lead them this way, so we need something here.
Brilliant.
So with some rooms, we'll take that mentality.
So you'll still be sort of, I was going to say meddling with it. That's not the right word, but
it is right. Yeah.
As it goes on.
Absolutely, we are, and we're constantly giving feedback to the performers. We're getting feedback from the performers and employing change when necessary. Sometimes even masks will build. May require some alterations based on the performer wearing it, or when they're actually in the space. They might have some blind areas that we didn't consider, but we're not wearing the mask.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
we need the performer to tell us that.
Yeah.
So we'll modify and make sure at all times they're also as safe as possible. That's also really important, that the characters maintain a level of safety and are taught to scare effectively. Again, who should you scare? Who shouldn't you scare? There's somebody walking in a room that is
crying.
Crying, scare them. Yeah, I mean, no, keep going. If someone's walking through the room and they're there to do other things, like they're there for their own motives.
Yeah.
Hang back, let them pass by.
Yeah,
use them as a wall and get the person behind them.
Right.
Yeah. That's also a good point. Someone my size, I may not get scared. So do you want to try and scare me and potentially waste a scare?
Yeah.
Or do you want to get the person behind me
waste a scare
that I am?
Waste a scare.
Do you want to get the person behind me that I'm blocking?
Yeah.
They're tucked this way. So we try to give them strategy. They come to the table with a huge strategy most of the time, because a lot of these characters have done this before.
Yeah,
so
of course.
they've got a good catalog of ways to be able to do it. But safety is always the biggest thing, because it's a lot of people going through. And even for the performers, again, it's a very physical job. I mean, it is not easy.
Oh, I bet it's exhausting.
It is exhausting. If you've never done it, after your first night and then into your first weekend, you will feel muscles on your body that you've never felt before. I went in one night 3 years ago into a room as a character, and it was this was 2008 maybe. It was a maze called Interstellar Terror. I went in. It was a space maze. It was all about space fiction, and went in as one of the characters. I did one night, did 2 hours in the maze, and I thought I was going to die. My whole body hurt, and all I could do was go up to the characters and go, "Thank you so much.
You're doing such a great
doing
job.
amazing.
Yeah.
So I am out of this realm now."
So, with the future of Halloween Horror Nights, what sort of technology do you think we will see incorporated? I know there was a 3D one, wasn't there?
We've done 3D mazes, which employs a specific type of glasses that allows colors to layer themselves. It's not 3D the way you would look at a 3D film, in the theater, or even a 3D attraction. It's more about color values when these specific glasses are placed on. And again, it's blocks of color that, based on the color value, end up layering themselves. So that it provides an interesting psychedelic type look. And we kind of pick and choose when we employ that and when we don't. We've done, like last year, we did a VR experience, which went really well. It was also a test for us to kind of start play testing some of this technology and see how it can be incorporated. But here's the thing. One thing I always, as far as a haunted maze is concerned, there's awesome technology that we can employ, which is great. And it also should be used sparingly, because some of the tried and true techniques are usually the best. Yeah. Again, something so simple as hanging black thread in a hallway and letting that thread hit the hairs of your arm as you're walking through. That is such a simple technique, but so effective. Yeah, right. The idea of using practical effects like wind and air and fog and these kind of tried and true things end up being, and finding new ways to use those things. Still the same tech, but you're thinking about ways to employ them differently. That's also unique.
So you'd be more concerned about overusing new technology just for the sake of it.
Yes, it needs to be within the context of the story. Yeah. It can never be just because. Using video effects. We've done a lot of video effects over the years, and some have been successful. Some have not been. But we try. We try a lot of different things. But I'll always be in favor of how can we take what we know works and look at it differently. Again, I think American Werewolf is a great example of that, because the werewolf could very easily been a costume character or some sort of even a hand puppet or a costume that we were only building the upper half of and placing the performer at a lower level, just having them kind of pop through and opening. It could have very easily been that. But we said, no, you know what, let's think about it differently. Let's try and apply some tech to do something that has pneumatics so we can get the jaw to open and close. It has the fluidity of motion that is what the film was. So I think areas like that it was something we knew we wanted, it was a look we knew we wanted, but we couldn't achieve the way we had been doing it. So let's do it this way instead, and take the time to figure it out. And doing that led us to be able to create, we did a maze based on Alien versus Predator. We built full-size, waist up aliens that were all puppeted. Because again, we didn't want to put an actor in a costume like that with this, huge helmet. Again, over time, it would have been uncomfortable and wouldn't have given us the movement that we knew we wanted that character to have. So, werewolf tech led us to reimagine how we could apply that to an alien, and then again, and that will get evolved and evolved and evolved. So it all comes from somewhere. So tech is useful when you're able to use it effectively within the story you're telling.
Cool. Abby, did you have anything else?
Yeah. We want to know if have you ever taken any props from any of the mazes? Are they in your house at home?
Yeah, well,
like a maze.
Yeah, I have an office at work, and there's a couple things. Not a lot, because there's a lot of stuff. Actually, we're building a brand new house. I'll have an office. I've never had an office in my home, so I'll have an office at home starting later this year when our house gets done. And I have already ideas of what I want to display. I've got it's like a Jason mask, I've got a Freddy glove. I've I've got there's a cane that our Jack the Clown used. I've got a version of that. Yeah, but also we decorate our art and design. Like our whole art and design building has, you go in there and it's literally a retrospective of our event.
All right.
We have this awesome wall that we've done this almost like it's literally a tree, kind of inspired by Ray Bradbury, the Halloween tree.
Yeah, yeah.
So we built this huge tree on a wall, and there are photographs of literally the Horror Nights family tree of every event we've ever done, all displayed in kind of a mosaic style with this tree at its base. We've got a full-size werewolf on a stairwell, so as you walk in.
Of course, who hasn't?
We've got all kinds of little props and little tiny things from the years we've done the event. So we've got art and design is also kind of a museum as well. Yeah, it's cool.
Nice.
I'm going to ask you a question, but it's going to embarrass you.
That's okay.
We both follow you on Twitter.
Okay.
So this year, we've seen a lot of T-shirts suddenly appear on Twitter, and it's the Aiello Club.
The Aiello Club, yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about how that's happened and what it represents?
Yes, there's a podcast called Scare Zone. It's a really great podcast, and the guy that runs it is a really, really cool guy named Logan, and he, as a joke, because I'm also a huge wrestling fan. I love WWE. Yes, my son and I both. It's like our thing. So we've got. My dad had Classic Monsters with me. I have wrestling with my son.
Right.
My son, honestly, he's not a horror kid. He may become one, but he's not there yet.
You're not working on it.
No. Well, a little bit here. Like we watched Krampus last year. That was kind of his first one. We've watched a little bit of Monster Squad together, but. Again, I'm not forcing it on him.
No.
I want him to love it. Yeah. But so he's getting there. He's 11. He'll be 12 in September, so he's getting there.
Yeah.
But we love WWE. That's like every week we watch that. So there's a club in wrestling called the Bullet Club. So Logan, knowing I'm a wrestling fan, did this joke called the Aiello Club, and it was a joke. And he posted something on Twitter about it. Well, apparently, because he contacted me, he goes, I'm getting a ton of tweets and DMs of people wanting a shirt. And I even on Twitter, I think I said, no, I'm not. Guys, it's a joke. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's funny. Thanks for I like the juxtaposition of the two things, but no, I'm good. I don't want my face on a T-shirt. And then a week went by, and then he contacted me again. He goes, Mike, there's a lot of people wanting this. So I said, okay. Again, all of this is unofficial. Nothing universal related. But I said, if there's that much of a want and need, and if you want to do something with it, you can, as long as you send everything you make to American Cancer Society, and all of it gets donated. So he said, yeah. So he said, I said, you can do it for 2 weeks only, and that's it. So we did, and I think
they sold out, didn't they?
Sold out. I think it was the highest selling shirt he's had on his.
That's
thing.
crazy.
It's stupid. It's so dumb. The shirt is ridiculous. The fact that people are wearing it because they love the event. I hope it's. And I no way is to want to be a love for me because I don't deserve that. The thing about the fans of Horror Nights is they are deeply passionate about anything within the event, and I think that is what's to be celebrated.
I think they can also see that you're passionate about it. It's not just a job.
No.
And I think that's very easy to sort of understand and get behind.
And that is the mentality with everybody on that team. We have the blessing that to be able to create something that not only we're paid to do, but we love so deeply. That is like the most amazing gift that anybody could possibly ask for themselves.
The thing I notice most about Halloween Horror Nights is, yes, a lot of people scream, but there's so much laughter.
Yeah.
So much laughter.
I've said in many talks I've given, and it's great that you bring that up, that a scream and a laugh, actually Michael Roddy first kind of told me this, a scream and a laugh are on the same spectrum. They're opposite ends, but they're equally linked. Because if you're in a movie or in a haunted maze, you just described it, you scream, and either you laugh afterwards or people laugh at you because you got scared. So there's this wonderful release at either end of that spectrum of energy and emotion instantaneously. And that's what I love about horror. It's what I love about comedy.
Yeah.
So why do we drive ourselves to these things? Is because we want those extreme ends of that spectrum. It's why we ride roller coasters and do thrill rides, and it's why we do all that stuff. It's adrenaline, you know.
Yeah.
Either way. So back the shirt, people are wearing it. They're taking pictures and sending them to me, and it's really cool. I think the shirt looks ridiculous.
Did you get one? Did you get one?
I did buy. I bought one for my son.
Yeah.
My son went, "My dad's on a T-shirt." I
Oh,
want
God,
one."
that must have been amazing. I'd have loved my dad to have a T-shirt when I was young. That would have been awesome. Great. So we've got one final question.
Sure.
And if we've got time, we've then got one quick game that Abby created.
Okay.
Back in the day, Halloween Horror Nights was split over both parks.
Yes.
Just for a little bit, wasn't it?
In 2000, I think it was 2003, 2004, I think.
Now,
A fan will probably comment, "No, Mike,
Yeah.
it's this,"
yeah,
and I'll
it's
go, "No, you're right."
2006 actually, yeah. But
No, was it 2000? No, it's
no, I don't know. I just chucked
Yeah,
it.
oh yeah, no. 2006 was the first year back at the studios. I do know that.
Yeah, it might have been 2001 actually. 2001. I'm
Maybe.
going for. Anyway, that's not the thing. Well, I mean, every year it's when is it going to be expanded into both areas? Is that something that you can see happening in the future?
Perhaps. Here's the thing: the event, honestly, that arena of the event of where it's located is probably the last thing we consider, because at first it's what kind of content would warrant something like that, and how does it affect how people experience the event? There are people in separate camps for this idea.
Yeah.
I'm in the camp.
Do you want it niche? Like
I
almost
prefer the event in the studios. I
Yeah.
like the event in the studios. I think, and this is my opinion. This is not a business tactic. It's just my opinion. For a myriad of reasons, I think it's where the event started. It feels home there.
Yeah.
I think maybe for me more because I've grown up with the event. I also like the studios from the fact that if we are brand related, it is a studio. So there are sound stages. It does feel. Although it's a little more distant in this mentality of how we view that theme park now, but for a time it was a motion picture studio. The event came from the studio that created horror.
Yes.
So I like that texture.
the legacy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Also, and from merely a creative perspective, Islands Adventure is a difficult park because it's so deeply themed. Again, those lands are really catered for those very specific themes. And to do something that is different than what you're surrounded by,
It's hard.
it's harder.
Right.
Now, you could say the same about the studios because, well, you've got Hollywood, you've got New York. The thing about that park is, and this is really a logistical thing, the streets are a lot wider in that park.
Okay.
So you could create something in the middle of the street.
It doesn't block flow of
It doesn't
traffic.
block flow, but also your architecture is kind of peripheral at that point.
Right.
You could create architecture in the street that causes you, again, if you want to go there, to forget about your other outer surroundings. That is something that I think the studios provides much more than I think Islands does. But I've been doing this long enough to say you never say never in that respect. If the business dictates a want and a need to do both parks again, I'm sure we would consider that. Absolutely. Cool. I really enjoyed that.
That was good.
I enjoyed this whole thing.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
Oh,
And
no,
finding the
thank you
time.
for having me here.
I know you're a very busy dude, and you've probably
Oh.
got loads to do today as well, haven't you?
We've got a full schedule. Not too bad though. We're actually we're on the tail end of things right now.
We definitely won't win all that chocolate. I guarantee you that. That's it. Thanks very much.
Oh no,
Appreciate it.
awesome
Thank
to
you
see
very
you
much.
guys. Bye everybody.
Bye.